Hello and welcome to this week's episode. This month's, I don't know how often we're going to publish, but welcome to this segment of Global Methodist Voices, Stories from North Georgia. My name's Justin Arnold. I'll be your host for all of these potentially, but we're just excited. We believe that God is at work and moving in the Global Methodist Church here in North Georgia. We've heard stories of how God is active in the lives of members and the lives of congregations and communities. And so we're just excited to tell the story of how God is good and how God is working. And so today we have two very special guests. They are both focused on an area of ministry that often gets overlooked. And I think it's one of the most crucial points. It was one of the most crucial points in my own life, and that is campus ministry on college campuses. So I've got with me Nathan Dickens and Tate Welling. Nathan is up in Dahlonega at UNG, and Tate is down at Georgia College in Milledgeville. So welcome both to the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
So can you just get me started? We'll have to do one at a time, but how'd you get into campus ministry? How'd you get to where you are right now?
You start us off, Nate.
All right. I went to 3 different colleges in 3.5 years, and found myself, attending Wesley's from time to time, and just started feeling a call to ministry, full-time ministry, when I was in college. And I didn't know what that would look like, didn't know what would happen. But I graduated, went on a year-long mission trip, and there was a opening for a campus ministry job here at North Georgia, and I applied. It was part-time. Thought I'd do it for a year or two, get some experience, and then get out of there. And that was 13 years ago. And so I started, and I've just never left. And I realized this is where God is calling me. This is where um, kind of a big part statistically is that, this is where people start taking their faith serious, and being a part of local churches. And this is such a um, this is such an important time of life. And I just never been able to leave, never want to leave. Just feel very called to uh, what God is doing with college students, and I just want to be a part of that journey with them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'd say mine's pretty similar. I came into college following Christ, but I'd say there was just some further places the Lord was wanting to take me. And He met me my freshman year on the campus of University of Georgia, and ever since then, just haven't looked back. And when I graduated, I worked for a campus ministry there in Athens for 6 years. And not long after that, I came here to Milledgeville. So I've been now in Milledgeville for 14 years doing campus ministry. And a lot like what Nathan said, my life was changed in college through campus ministry. And I feel like the college campus is just the perfect place to talk about Jesus with students.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. No, can I give y'all my quick college story?
Yeah.
I grew up in a Christian home, grew up with a wonderful family. My grandma prayed for me. I mean, my parents prayed for me. My mom worked in the church, everything. I went to college. The first day there, I started looking for beer. And so to me, it was like, I never had it before. And it was like, and then once I tried it, I was like, why do people like this? So I kept drinking it, and so for me, it was a campus ministry actually at my junior year of college where the Lord began to work back in my life. And, I turned 21 and stopped drinking, and, God radically changed my life at UGA, at a campus ministry. And so to me, I think is a crucial time. I try to encourage all my youth that are leaving and going into a campus like, hey, find a campus ministry, find a local church to plug into. If not, it's really easy to find the bars. And
Oh yeah.
so you won't need directions to those. You will possibly need directions to how to further your faith and grow in your faith with
No.
Jesus. So, I love what y'all are doing. It was a crucial time in my life. Had it not been for a campus ministry, I don't know where I'd be, honestly. So,
Yeah.
um,
That's awesome,
so
Justin.
so where so what kind of what does a week look like, month look like what are the rhythms of ministry? I know it's a little different than the local church. We're 365 week in, week out, highs on Mother's Day, Christmas, Easter, lows on the week after Christmas, Father's Day, stuff like that. So what y'all have a different world than maybe a lot of people are used to in the local church.
Yeah. I say one big place where it's kind of different in our schedule is, and I think you might agree with this, Nathan, is it's in a healthy way, 24/7 ish. Like we do pretty much do life together on a daily basis with these college students. Like currently, as we're doing this interview, there's at least 30 college kids outside my office door. We have on Tuesdays, Thursdays, we have a coffee house for college students from 11 to 2, where we serve what we call a free mediocre cup of gourmet coffee. We put gourmet in front of it because it just makes it sound. Gourmet just means extra creamer. And that's what it means. And these kids they're here just hanging out, and they'll do that every Tuesday and Thursday with us. We have services with them on Monday and Wednesday. So that's 4 days a week that we are in the lives of these kids. And from the most random things, whether it's eating with them at cookout. I try not to do that too much anymore now that I'm 44. I'm trying to stay alive for my own kids, especially 11 p.m. cookout meals, or I'm trying to do that less and less. Or praying with them, discipleship, or playing cornhole. Like it's so all over the place, but it's so fun and it's so impactful because of you're literally doing daily life with them. That's the biggest difference for me from even times where I've pastored in the local church for 2 or 3 years. That's the biggest difference on that college campus is we are doing, and I define us as a campus ministry, not a college ministry, because as a campus ministry, we're actually on the campus doing life with them daily, as opposed to a college ministry that does ministry to college students and you have them come to your church. In a campus ministry setting, we're trying to go to them and be on their turf. And so we do 2 services a week on Monday night for freshmen and on Wednesday nights for anyone on our college campus. So that's kind of a little bit about what our week will look like.
That's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, ours is similar except for the coffee house. I mean, uh, the thing that's always drawn me to campus ministry is when I read through the New Testament, the only way I see how to do ministry well is to live life with people, 24/7. We have college students. I'm in our college ministry house right now. Um, and we have college students that are coming in and out. We have people that are, you know, calling, texting, I'm just there all the time, pretty much. There's discipleship that's always going on. We have different community groups that go on. We do 2 services right now. We're going to revamp that next year as well. But right now we have our freshman ministry on Tuesday nights, and then we do our main worship service on Wednesday nights. But then we have fun events that we do. There's, mission trips. There's all sorts of things that we do throughout the week, leadership meetings. Um, but a lot of it is spent, just being with students, going out to eat with them, hanging out with them, being on campus with them, playing whatever, um, and really building relationships with them to where they do want to talk and open up. And uh, but that's our big thing, is building community and building something that's more than just a once a week or a twice a week thing. We want this to be something that we're walking with them truly daily. Um, So yeah.
That's awesome. I think no, that was something I missed out on. I wish I would have done it better, but the college is a unique place in life in that for most students, especially if they go and they're residential students, right?
Yeah.
And they have freedom, they have low responsibility, high free time, high idle time, and so filling that with intentional, relational, uh, you know, God honoring relationships, I think is a huge benefit to those years if you take them as a student. So I'm excited. So
Well,
I
and
see.
one of the things, Jess, I meant to tell you this. One of the things we started about 2 years ago, once a month, we do this thing called Dinner Bell, and we get either a Sunday school group or a community group come and cook a meal for the students, and we just open up, say, hey, free dinner. And what's kind of interesting, one of our students who was connected to a local church here, um, was like, hey, what if we did this? I'm like, yeah, start it up. And I thought they were just gonna. Um, I thought the groups would feel like, oh, these college students will want to talk to us. We're just going to come bring a meal or cook it there and then leave. But what has happened is that these groups come and they'll hang out with them till 9 or 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And like the students love it and they start building relationships and it helps get them into the local church as well. Cause I know, I could probably speak for Tate here too. We recognize that this is only for a certain amount of years that you're going to be in college ministry. And so a big thing that we want is that local church connection that teaches students how to engage with people 20, 30, 40 years their senior and recognize that they're on the same path of following after the Lord and building the kingdom. And that's just something that I wanted to highlight because it's one of the most favorite things that I think we do. And the students look forward to it because they love to get to know all the people that are coming and they just sit here for a few hours after dinner, just talking, living life with each other. It's really, really cool.
There's something always about a shared table. I think there's something in the Bible about that. Y'all may have found it somewhere in scripture where they eat together, but yeah, there's something about a shared table that kind of breaks down some barriers and um, you know, allows for God to speak to people. And I don't know. I'm a big fan. I think the one of the hardest parts leaving campus ministry is, okay, how do you do it now? Like how could you do similar communal type living
Yeah.
after graduation? And so that's a different problem that we'll tackle one day when we grow up.
Yeah.
But so how have you guys seen God at work in this season? I'm sure you see it a lot as if you're paying attention, but where's God kind of working in your ministries right now?
It's a good question. You got something ready, Nathan?
Yeah, I mean, right now we're kind of in the thick of doing our leadership interviews for next year. And one of the questions I always ask students is basically what brought you to this point, and then how did you find this campus ministry, and what's keeping you coming back, and um, why do you want to serve? And the answers that I get a lot of times are very consistent, where they say, you know, I started to find community here, and I found a place that I felt welcomed and loved, and that is going after the Lord. Um, and we just, I have countless stories of students, calling me. I have one student years ago that came to my house at like 1:30 at night, and I was like, dude, come on, man. Like, but anyways, um, the countless stories of these students, just something clicking. It's like the Holy Spirit just, they've been following the Lord for a while. They grew up in the church. It's something that they do. But then after living life with them, there's almost like this breaking point at which they recognize their own brokenness and they recognize their need for God. And then it's like this walking with him through this season, and then it clicks of like, man, God truly loves me and he desires for me to follow after him and to live my life according to him, because in him there's freedom in that. And students just, again, countless stories of students saying, man, I experienced that at a service, or I experienced that while we were on fall retreat, or all these years that it might not have been a light bulb moment in the exact place, but all of a sudden they it just clicks like over the years of building. And something that this past fall retreat, we were up in Northwest Georgia, and we had it'd been day 2 of our fall retreat, and we were sitting around eating dinner, and at the end of it, I just was like, man, I want to try something, see what happens. And right at the end of dinner, I said, all right, we're going to take a 5-minute break. I said, I want you all to think of 2 things. One positive and one not so positive thing that's happened in your life that's made you who you are. And what was interesting is sitting around that table, I didn't know how vulnerable people would be. I didn't know what was going to happen, but um, 2 people had lost their parents within the past year and a half. They started expressing, one student talked about how he grew up with great parents, all that, but as he's come back from he was about to graduate. As he started to go back home, he recognized that their parents' relationship was off, and he didn't really feel much love in the household. And what was interesting for me, it was God moving in me, realizing that some of these people don't even have parents anymore. Parents have gone. Some of these people don't feel loved or feel community or feel welcomed anywhere. And it just really encouraged me. It was like the Lord speaking to me. This is why you do what you do. This is why this is so important to have campus ministries, because statistically, we all know that the years are gone where people go to college and they have fun for a few years, and then they start getting married and having kids, and they're mid to late 20s, early 30s, and they go, oh, the church taught me all these good things. Let me get back into it. Now, overwhelmingly, people, if they leave the church or something's not pouring into them, they don't come back. They're not finding that way back. And so it just reminds me of how important it is to be with people, to have these ministries, and just seeing God move whether it's a positive thing, or even I've got plenty of stories of, North Georgia, we've had a tough year. We had 2 or 3 students commit suicide last semester. We had another attempt this past year. We've had some almost bad things happen at the ministry, or on the campus. And it's just like, man, students need this. They need the truth of the gospel. They need a place that they can be themselves, that they can take off the mask. They don't have to be anyone. They need a place that the truth of the gospel is preached. Um, and they need community to walk alongside each other. And I just see it all the time of people going, man, I was super depressed. I couldn't find friends. I tried this. I tried other ministries, and this one just felt like home. And God started moving. And uh, I see God moving daily through these students. So that's just a little bit about what's happening up here.
It's incredible. Yeah.
It's a good word. I think for us, Justin, one thing that's super important, and actually both Nathan and our ministry here is discipleship, and we're doing a similar thing. We're going through our leadership interviews for next year. So it's what we call our lead team. So it's students that will be either leaders or interns within our ministry. And anyone that's on our lead team, they have to be a part of our discipleship relationship with somebody within our organization. And right now, that'll be starting in the fall. There will be 85 plus kids that are starting the semester in discipleship relationship, which is going to be huge. They're going to be meeting with people in groups 2 or 3 once a week for at least an hour a week, and really kind of getting behind that Wesleyan language of banding together Their big part of that's going to be accountability and them asking those hard questions of, is there any sin in your life? Is there any, are there any secrets that you need to confess? That's not a regular part of everyone's lives, and it really should be. So it's something that I think that the Lord is doing in college ministries and campus ministries, is making that, reminding us that that should be a part of how they do life from here on out. 2 weeks ago, I just walked through, one of the guys that I'm meeting with, we walked through what's called a life confession, where he literally confessed everything that he could remember. And it just helps to practice that art of vulnerability, accountability. It showed him that, like, hey, I still love you, even though I know everything about you. And this was really even something he wanted to do. He came to me and was like, I want to do a life confession. I'm like, all right, let's go. But that's a big part of what's happening on college campuses, is kids are learning the importance of being in a discipleship relationship, being discipled, but also getting to a place where they are discipling as well. And I know that there are local churches that are doing that, but I also know that there are places that aren't. And for all of us as followers of Christ, that should be a given in our life, that we have a discipleship relationship that we are doing, whether we're paid professional Christians like the three of us, or whether we work for a bank, that if we're following Christ, is there someone that we're leading, and is there someone that's shepherding and leading us on a even on a closer level than just the senior pastor of the church? You know, the senior pastor of the church can't disciple everyone. We went as a body of people, as the church, we want to be being disciples and making disciples. It's so that's a big thing that the Lord's doing right now in and through our ministry, and it is fun, Justin, to watch it happen. So,
I think the big thing was the verse, don't let anyone look down on you because you're young, right?
yeah,
And so I think a lot of times we think that college is, they're still kids.
yeah,
Like we've all used the language, they're kids, and
yeah,
18 to 20 something year olds, legally they could go serve in the military, but we've not necessarily done great jobs in homes making them be adults.
yeah,
And so there's that, but these are not junior varsity Christians. Like, they're tackling hard things. They're walking through messy parts of life. They're dealing with, real loss. I mean, multiple parent losses, friends choosing to end their lives, like
oh yeah,
major, major things. And the hope and the truth of the gospel being proclaimed on the campuses frequently and consistently, I think, is such an important piece of spiritual formation, especially in those years, right? They're not, I do think that there was a time where we were just like, all right, we'll get the kids out of youth ministry, we'll kick them out, and we'll see them when they have their first kid. And
yeah,
we just can't afford that anymore. I mean, we really could never afford that. Like, we really could never let people's faith development shrink during that time, but we did, as a culture, as a society. And now it's not even negotiable. So
oh yeah. There's a awesome study. It's called The Great Opportunity, and it talks about kind of the season that we're in right now, between now and I want to say it's 2050, that they estimate that 42 million youth that were raised in Christian homes will disaffiliate from Christianity, which is going to be that between now and 2050, that'll be 1.4 million a year. And a big part of that section right now is actually going to be Gen Z. And Gen Z, a big chunk of that is in that college season right now, or going to be in college in the next few years. I think the youngest Gen Z right now will be 15 years old, if I remember correctly. But the study suggests that if we can stop that trend and just get it back to where it was, like, I don't know, a decade ago, it would drop all the way down to 22 million that will be leaving, disaffiliating from Christianity. So you're talking about 20 million lives that will still be following after Christ. And um, it's huge. So a big part of that study puts this emphasis and focus right now on Gen Z, which to me shows the significance, particularly in this season on the college campus, of, man, 20 million souls staying in relationship with Jesus. It's huge.
Yeah. And I think we should, that's awesome. Amazing. I think that we want to see that. I also think we need to say there's almost no millennials on college campuses anymore.
Yeah.
So if we think truly, whatever was working or not working for millennials is kind of irrelevant at this point, because everyone on a college campus is Gen Z.
Yeah.
Except for those non-traditional students or,
Yeah.
the campus pastors.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a new world, and we have less data on them than we do on millennials because they're not as old. So
Yeah.
Well, what I'm finding too, especially with a lot of Gen Z, is that I've noticed a lot of them, and this is kind of what college is for. They want truth. They want something that is true. And for most college students, they're willing to try anything to find some sort of truth, whether it's capital T truth as we know it, or it's some sort of truths that they live by. And they're kind of, at least from what I'm sensing, they're kind of done with. They just want truth. They don't want all the fluff. They don't want all the, if it's true, then it's true. And if it's true, then I want to follow it. Then I want to give my life to it. And there's still, I was talking to one of our students who is about to graduate, and we're trying to, for the first time, have our first full-time intern here. Um, he's got to raise some money. We got to raise some money to make that happen. But he wants to dedicate this next year of his life to just doing college ministry and pouring out to students. And something that he was telling me about, he read, I forget where he got his statistic from, but that there was still an increase in Generation Z of people who want to follow Jesus. Now the trends are still that it's going down at a rate, but that people are wanting Jesus. They want the truth. They don't want just the nice, polished. They want real. And I think what they find in college is that life starts becoming real. And like you said, Justin, I always tell our students, I'm like, hey, if you're over 18, which all of you are, you're an adult to me. I don't treat you as kids anymore. You're an adult. Yeah, your parents still may be paying for you, or you're under their insurance. But I was like, you could be tried as an adult. You can vote. You could be drafted. So you're an adult to me. I'm not treating you as a kid anymore. And I think they want that. There's something exciting about being able to be seen as like, no, we're going to give you truth, and you take that as an adult and you run with it, or you don't. And there's some ownership there. We like to set up our college ministry where we're going to help guide you, but we're not going to spoon feed you. And so we want them to learn how to struggle with that in college, how to struggle with their time management, how to struggle with, I had a good season where I was kind of all in. Now I have a season where I'm struggling, because when they get out from college, there ain't nobody, forcing you to go to church. There's nobody gonna spoon feed you anymore. So if you can learn to struggle with that now, then when you get out and you're struggling, or you're going through different seasons, you've already gone through that. You recognize, okay, I can continue this. I've been through this before, and it's not the first time you've ever experienced that. But I think that's the importance of these campus ministries. We need truth being proclaimed in a world that gives a lot of what they would say are truths, but they're empty. They don't follow through with anything. And we need people, and we need these ministries that saying we're going to give real truth and live through the messiness and be there through the ups and downs, because nothing else will really do that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good. Yeah, I got a college kid. I'm not old enough to have a college kid yearly, but I got a college kid, and it's spot on. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, yes needs to be yes, and no needs to be no, and we don't really need to uh, figure out how gray maybe can be. Either
Well,
it's true
there's
or
a
it's not.
level at which parents, and again, as someone who does not have kids, parenting has to be the hardest thing ever, and I will never judge anyone for their parenting because I don't know what that's like. And I've got a bunch of nieces and nephews, like 10 or 12 of them, or 10, 12, 12. Um, and it's exhausting just being there with them for a day. So I don't know how I would act. You know what I mean? So there's no judgment here. But I think out of parents' good desires, good intentions of wanting the best for their kids, they've started to step over the bounds of doing everything for them. And they don't know how to handle anything, confrontation, failure. They don't know how to do anything. This is stereotypical, not every student, but because their parents have done everything for them.
Yeah.
Um, and that's a big shock when you get to campus and you didn't get into the major that you wanted or that you thought. It does look like you're going to get the job. The girlfriend or boyfriend break up with you because you thought that y'all were going to get married. You thought you were this person, and now you're at this stage of life where you're away from your parents for the first time. You're not the person that you thought. Like, there's a lot that's thrown at you, and I would say for overwhelm. Wouldn't say overwhelming, but statistically, not statistically, stereotypically, a lot of these
Got it.
students
There we go.
don't have the ability to get through it. They don't
Yeah.
they don't have the ability to, like, okay, you know what, that failed, let me try something different. And so they need people that say, hey, you're no longer a kid and I'm going to treat you as an adult, because they're wanting that. A lot of them just don't know what that really means because they've never been given the opportunity. And their parents just do a lot for them. And it's all about their grades and it's all about the next big thing. But, um, they're getting their A's, they're studying hard, they're doing all that, but life isn't what they thought it would be. Well,
Yeah,
what's missing? Well, I'm a good person. I go to church and, but what's missing? Um, and a lot of it is, man, we've put a lot of emphasis on the wrong things. It's good to get good grades. As a campus minister, I always say, you're here to get an education, but don't think that education is going to fulfill, or don't think that next big paying job is going to be the best thing for you, or don't think that you're going to get your dream job and it's going to be perfect just how you wanted it, and life's going to work out how you wanted it to look like. But that if God has something better and bigger, and that even when life isn't going the way that you thought, um, that God is still good and He's with
yeah,
you. And we need people and we need ministries that will do that and be there for students and go through that messiness, because there's not a lot of places that'll do that, and they'll just leave them in the dust all the while they're silently dying. I used to have a professor um, at Asbury that used to say, um, uh, it was Robert Tuttle, good old Bob Tuttle.
Oh, I love
He
Bob
used to
Tuttle.
say, I know, I love him. He used to say, you don't have to die to experience hell. And we got so many people, but a lot of students who are living a living hell. And they can put on a good face and they can just try to get through it, but it's no way to live. And
yeah,
they need something more than uh and this is the importance of living life with students. If you just go to church, do the same old routines. You go once a week, you do your prayers. I'm not even doing anything bad. Uh, it's still not what God has for you. God has a real relationship for them. And the only way they find that out is with ministries that will live life with them, not just tell them about it once a week and say, now go out and do it. That'll actually be there through the day in and day out of things.
Absolutely. That's good. That will preach, as they say.
as they say.
As they say. Well, can you give me a quick rundown of the name of the ministry, kind of how y'all came to it, what this all looks like? I know there's a bit of a reorganization, an organization, whatever the right term is. So what does that look like?
So as we've looked to kind of reorganize all of us, really Nathan and I, and also a good buddy of ours, CJ, he's down in South Georgia at Valdosta State. We were all Wesley Foundations prior, and as we've stepped into this next season of life of ministry, guided our ministry into this next endeavor, we were thinking about names, and really we just no longer wanted to. And I say this, like, I love Wesleyan theology. Obviously, it makes most sense to me, and it just seems to be really part of my DNA. But we didn't want our name to. We didn't want to hang our name on a dead man, right? And I think even John Wesley would say that about himself as well. Like, he's like, look, I'm just a man. We wanted our name in our next season of life to really represent what it is that we're wanting. And a big thing that we're wanting is awakening on the college campus. We're wanting awakening in the cities that these college campuses are on. And obviously, just ultimately, we want to experience an awakening in our country, in the church at large. Obviously, John Wesley was a huge player in the Great Awakening. And so for us, that's just kind of where some of that language came from. It's just wanting awakening. So that's where kind of put our brains together, and it came up with Awakening Collegiate Fellowship. That we want to. That's really what we want to be about. It's just students encountering the Lord and in new, fresh ways. That you say the living God that we serve. So we want to be awakened to that. So does that sound right, Nathan?
Yeah. And Awakening has, just like Tate said, a rich history in the Wesleyan traditions. And we've been, talking and dreaming, and God's put, something in our hearts of how do we kind of reimagine campus ministry? How do we go forward and do something new, and to have this new name of Awakening, of what we desire in younger generations, our own hearts, our communities, our states, our nation. How does that look, and what do we do? And um, it just seemed like Awakening was it, and it's where we want to be. It's where we want to hold fast to, is an awakening of the Holy Spirit. Um, and so, yeah, that's where it kind of landed.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, so I need to ask a nitty-gritty question because I want people to know the truth about this, because we talked. We like truth. Where do you get your funding from?
I think right now a big part of that funding comes from local church. So local churches, especially as we've stepped into this new season, since there's not like a branch within the Global Methodist Church that we sit under that provides funding as an extension ministry or anything. So the local churches are a big part of that funding right now. And we've had several within the Global Methodist Church that have really stepped up and said, we want to be a part of the work the Lord's doing on the college campus. Also, certainly our alumni at both of our universities are a big part of that as well. People in our community and parents of current students are a big part of that as well. But we have our annual budget for our ministry is about $100,000, and I say we're looking for 75,000 of that to come from the local church. So the way we have our budget shaped right now, which would be significant.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same thing for
Nathan, y'all about
us.
the same way? Yeah.
We're about the same way. I mean, we're heavily dependent. We're 100% fundraised, so we're heavily dependent upon local churches, um, individuals, people in the community, parents and alumni. I would say a bulk majority of our funding comes from the local church. We really need church partners that are saying, "Hey, we want to give annually. We want to write into our budgets, whether it's 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, $10,000 a year. If you want to go bigger, we'd love that. Um, but that'll put us in their annual budget saying, hey, we may not be near this campus ministry in the sense of, we can be the hands and feet because we're 30, 40, 50 miles away. But you know what? We want to actually give to an organization and give to a thing that can be the hands and feet. Um, and so that's the importance of, we love what the GMC is kind of set up where um, it's about the local connection and the local church kind of to taking a stance and saying, all right, we need to have a heavy role in that. Um, and so that's where we're really leaning on those local churches saying, hey, we want to pour into this. We want to have a kingdom minded attitude. It's not just, okay, if I give this, then am I going to get this back? Or if I give you this, then maybe we can have some students come there. We want that. But if you've never worked with college students, you can't really promise that. And sometimes, as much as you may want a college person to come to your church every Sunday, if it's 20, 30 miles away, maybe a little inconsistent at times. Um, so I just say we want those kingdom-minded people that say, you know what, we want to sow for an awakening in this
Yeah.
next generation, and we
Yeah.
want to sow in ways, and that's what we're finding is people saying, you know what, we just want to be sowers, and we want to pour in and just sow and sow and sow. Um, so yeah, that's kind of where our funding and stuff
It's a
comes
big,
from.
big
Yeah.
phrase we're trying to use, Justin, amongst really the three of our ministries at UNG, here at Georgia College, and at Valdosta State, is that phrase "for the awakening." This is what we want people to invest in. This is for, yes, the future of the church, but for the awakening on our campus, just in the hearts of individuals. I can't think of a better place for us to invest financially, because the college campus, the way it even works naturally, is it's a sending agency. These kids come here for a 4-year period from all over the state. Even we have a kid within our freshman ministry right now from Nigeria, um, who is thriving and loving it. And at some point, his plan is to go back to Nigeria. He's not looking to make America his home. And he's being invested in, poured into right now in a small group, um, with the hopes of, we're wanting to send these students out once they graduate. Um, and it's a sending agency that we're just basically investing in right now on the college campus.
That's awesome. So let's say these churches, um, look, I think campus ministry matters to me. It matters to the hearts of the kids that are in your buildings right now. It matters to the campus that you're on. It matters to the town that you're in. It matters to eternity. And so I want to see us be a people that are generous and sowing into what's happening there. So if someone wanted to help be a part of funding the budget, where should they go?
Definitely don't go to Nathan's website. Don't go to UNG. Go to Georgia. Just kidding. We have websites for our ministries. For us, it's awakeningmilledgeville.org, and you just go to our give page. We are trying to work on something for the state of Georgia, as we're launching these Awakening Collegiate Fellowships. We're seeing interest even beyond our state. So we're trying to do it in our state well first, as we're looking to also invite others in that perhaps maybe they're leaving the denomination they've been a part of, or maybe they've never been a part of one and they really align with that Wesleyan thinking and want to become Awakening Collegiate Fellowships. That's something we're trying to make available as well, where I'd say we're definitely in the grassroots phases of that. But for us, that'd be a way that people can, easiest way for them to give is to go through our website, awakeningmilledgeville.org. How about for you, Nathan?
Yeah. For us right now, it would be go to UNG Wesley Collegiate .org and give through our website. We are in the middle of our name change. We had a name change last summer, and then as we started to build the Awakening, it was like, all right, now we're gonna have to go through another name change. So we're going to we're still waiting to hear back from our 501(c)(3) that anyway, all this stuff. Uh,
Yeah, legal
we're
stuff.
legal stuff. So we're in the middle of that, and then hopefully this summer we will be having a new website. But our website of UNG Wesley Collegiate .org, that's where people can give. And I think, Tate, slow me down if I'm getting ahead of myself, but just to tell people what Awakening Collegiate Fellowship is, as we sat down, Tate, CJ, and I, and we were just kind of dreaming and praying, and what does this look like? As we were looking, praying for, God, what do you have for us, and what do you have for this next generation, and how can we be faithful in following after it? And we started, feeling like Awakening Collegiate Fellowship was the way to go. Is that we are a pan-Wesleyan college ministry. We want to be available. We are from the Wesleyan streams of things. We are working on right now, turning in all the paperwork. Tate's doing his right now. Once we get our name change, we'll do ours. But to be an approved extension ministry of the GMC. So we won't be the GMC's like direct, this is what they've started. We've started something that says, hey, we want to partner with y'all. We want to be in lockstep with you. And so we're starting. How does campus ministry look? How does it really fun? Well, we're getting to be, we're our own 501(c)(3. We're building our own thing, with the intention of we want to be able to go to denominations like the GMC and say, hey, we're in lockstep and we can be your own, and you don't have to build something new. Like, we want to live this life with you. Um, and so that's kind of where we're flowing out of, is that we're working on to be an approved extension ministry of the GMC. Um, and we're just kind of reimagining how this all looks like and how we've always done campus ministry, to be after the awakening, that doesn't just start in college, but that goes back into the local ministry and into other countries. Something I've noticed, I don't know if you've noticed this, Tate, but we've got a lot of students now coming in as their freshman year of college, but they're technically sophomores. So many people are doing um, dual enrollment in high school. And so it's really important that these college years, we may now have some for 4 years. Some of the students like me, you had me for 5. Um, but there are a lot of students that are here for 3.5. And so to be able to bring them on and to keep them engaged instead of just, oh, I've only got 3 years here, 3.5 years here, and I'm already looking to my career, and I'm just like, now I'm falling to the wayside and I'm not really engaging in my faith, to have these places. We're just reimagining what it all looks like, and like Tate said, really building something that is, we're building it in Georgia, but we're already looking very much further, and there's a lot of interest of, hey, how do I plant this where I'm at? How do
So
I do
good.
this? And so God, we had been praying that this is what God wanted, and we thought, this is going to take a few years to get down the road, and it seems like the Holy Spirit's moving, and we're just trying to be faithful in what God's
Love it.
doing. Um,
Love it.
so yeah,
I'd love to, Justin, I'd love to give you a quick story in regards to the kind of the switch for all of us. In the fall, I met with our student leaders. So at that point, there was, of our student leaders, there were probably 40 or 50 of them that were in the room. This was a couple of hours before our worship service that night, and some of them gathered to pray. And I was sharing with them, hey, we're going to be going through some changes in the fall, and I was trying to figure out a way to word language of that we were moving out of our denomination and moving into a new season, and was trying to figure out a language that they would understand, because they don't really speak denominationally, most of our college kids. And I gave them the phrase like, look, we need a new umbrella to sit under come January 1. And just letting them know that. And after that, a student comes up to me, and we had a prayer meeting 2 days before that. And he said in that prayer meeting, he had been listening just to the Lord, and the Lord put on his heart a picture of an umbrella. And he draws this umbrella in his journal. And he's asking the Lord, like, what does this mean? I don't understand this umbrella. And beside it, he writes the phrase, we're going to need a new umbrella because God's Spirit is about to reign. And I feel like that's where we are in this moment, is we're looking for a new umbrella as college ministries to sit under, and we want GMC to be one of those umbrellas. Nathan and I will both be, we're currently TBO elders in the GMC. We'll be officially ordained in June at our annual conference, which I know we're both looking forward to. We want to be the future of what campus ministry looks like for the GMC. And awesome. I really believe the Lord's behind it. I believe his Spirit's about to reign and pour out on this campus. And we want to see the GMC be one of those umbrellas that we sit under. So.
And gentlemen, on that, I want to let us in, because that is a beautiful parting word. That God would rain down. We're going to need a new umbrella for how much the Holy Spirit's going to fill the college campuses. I mean, wouldn't that be the awesome. Awakening? So, so gentlemen, thank you both. Nathan, Tate, thank you so much for the way that you have hearts for students, for young adults, as they are pouring into this season of their life. Thank you for the way that you're leading them well. And, guys, I'm just excited for what God is doing. If you're watching this and you're saying, I really need to partner with this, the reason is because you really need to partner with this. And so go ahead, go to the description, go to the show notes. You'll find links to both of their websites. You can go directly to them, learn more, reach out, send your students to their ministries. If you've got students on campus there, they didn't know it existed. I'm not sure how they went about that, but let them know that there's a home for them away from home. And guys, I'm just so excited for what God's doing. So thank you so much for being one of our listeners, for being excited for how God is moving in North Georgia through the Global Methodist Church and through the ministries that are involved with it. We're excited to partner with different people who love God and love people. And so we just hope that you're having a wonderful day, experiencing the truth that Jesus loves you, and he died on the cross for you, and he rose again for you and for everyone on the earth. So thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a great day, and come back for our next episode here at Global Methodist Voices, Stories from North Georgia. Have a blessed one.